Virgil Texas joins me. He is one of the hosts of Chapo Trap House. He's got a new book out, The Chapo Guide to the Revolution, a manifesto against logic, facts, and reason. Fascinating. I'll talk to him about that. He says that if you're a fan of sacred cows, prisoners being taken, or holds being barred, then this book is not for you. Fascinating. Virgil, welcome to Rebel Headquarters.
Cenk, thank you so much for having me.
No problem, brother. So for the folks that are uninitiated, what is Chapo Trap House?
Chapo Trap House is a comedy and politics podcast. It was started about 2 years ago right after the Democratic presidential primary, and the thing really blew up after the election. And right now, it's a kind of a minor cultural phenomenon. We are D-list internet figures.
So Pace Magazine has called you guys vulgar, brilliant demigods of the new progressive left. That sounds fun. So many have characterized you as radicals. How do you plead to that charge?
Sure, I'd say guilty as charged. I mean, we look at the status quo in this country and we say, no, thank you, sir.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So let's dive in a little bit and find out what exactly that means. So, sure. Assessment of Barack Obama, go.
I think his presidency was a failure. I mean, he did a few good things, as many of our critics have pointed out. Nominating Sonia Sotomayor to the Supreme Court was a great success. But otherwise, he came into office with this opportunity to be a transformational figure on the level of the New Deal or the Great Society, right? He comes into office with a staggeringly high approval rating, filibuster-proof majority in the Senate, massive majority in the United States House, and a spiraling unemployment rate. Dow Jones craters to something like 3,000 in his first few months in office. And he follows up with that by putting Tim Geithner in his cabinet, putting Hillary Clinton in his cabinet, putting Gates in his cabinet, by arbitrarily limiting his stimulus package that's supposed to save the freaking economy to, what was it, $700 billion, most of which were tax cuts. If you look into the bill and you look at what actual pork spending is in there, it's less than $100 billion. That's a long weekend in Congress. And this was a chance to create a national jobs program, to create a massive new entitlements, to reinvigorate the place of the federal government and society within the economy, an opportunity to actually defang Wall Street and hold those who caused the crisis accountable. None of that happened, and it's really staggering to look back on the legislation that Obama signed into law during his first 2 years in office, because in comparison to the actual circumstances of the country at that time, it's not much at all.
Yeah, so far I'm not seeing the radical, but we might if we keep going. Are there any good Republicans?
No, of course not. No, the idea is laughable.
Well, there, I just laughed. So now, look, Virgil, of course, what a lot of people would say, I'm not sure that I'm among them, but they say, well, no, the Republicans just have a different ideology than you do. That doesn't mean they have bad intent or that they're bad people.
Yeah, well, what if it's an evil ideology? Then if you believe in it and you act based on those principles, you're an evil person, QED.
Okay, so why do you think it's an evil ideology?
For one, it's an idea. What conservatism is today is a patchwork. It's a Frankenstein of just reactionary, hateful viewpoints. And what we talk about in our book and our section on conservatives is the idea of intellectual conservatism has always been an utter fraud, from William F. Buckley and Ayn Rand to your Ben Shapiro's today. And frankly, one of the benefits of the Trump administration is he gives the game away. He lays it bare. He shows you the utter evil intent of modern day conservatism. He simply doesn't speak in the language that liberals and centrists and various beltway apparatchiks can abide by.
So, so far, I haven't seen that much disagreement between what you guys say and what we say, and so let's try to find it. Okay.
Sure. Okay.
Are you for the abolition of wage labor?
Yes.
Okay. What does that mean?
You have a society that's organized right now around the necessity of working in order to live. We have a society that's arranged around where the only actual driving forces here are by those who have capital and seek to increase their standing in society, increase their wealth out of pure self-interest. And we know what that leads to. It's led to our current circumstances, and it's going to lead to a very bad place. You know, I saw a news article earlier this week saying that a major health insurance company I believe it was Hartford Insurance, is only going to put forward plans going forward, might be life insurance, but for plans going forward for people wearing Fitbits, wearing wearable tech so that the actuaries can monitor their vital signs at all times. As our technology's improved, the technological developments of the past few years have really just led to this point where the forces of capital and big business and society can far more efficiently put a dollar sign on every single human being, not just in this country, but frankly on the planet. And what the abolition of the wage system means is, well, for one, I believe in the abolition of capital and currency, which necessitates the abolition of the wage system, but rather a society that is, for lack of a better word, a communist society, a society where our inputs, our work goes toward the benefit of society, that the profits, so to speak, if we're using that terminology, is shared equally and based on human needs.
Okay.
I don't consider that to be a radical proposition. Do you?
Yeah, I do actually. So, we have found it. We have found our disagreement. Okay, and it is significant actually. So, look, when you say the American companies track us way too much, 100% agreed. Now, you know, I don't know, sure you've seen it. Some companies are now trying to implant chips inside of people. They say, oh no, it'll help them get stuff out of the vending machine. So will change. So I don't think we need chips inside the body to do that. And this system is run amok, and it's unfettered capitalism that is destructive. But going to non-currency, non-wages, not buying it. So, I mean,
that's fair, but you know, I mean, is there something that's morally just about the compulsion to work based solely on the circumstances of your birth? Because I don't particularly think there is.
Well, I mean, it's a sad day for all of us, but we have to, otherwise nothing will work, literally. Like, I don't want to work. A lot of people don't want to work. You know, people think I'm a workaholic. No, I'd rather not work.
But the thing is, a lot of people do enjoy working. They do find fulfillment in contributing to society. And in my mind, I would like to see a society where you are encouraged to work not for the benefit of someone over you and improving their profit margin, and not solely because if you don't, society has dictated that you will die, but rather for the satisfaction that what you're doing is socially valuable and that benefits other people.
Yeah, look, that's okay. Good. I'm heartened to find out that that we do have some disagreements. Good, smart, honest people can have those, and yeah, I believe that that's not how humans work. Humans are both cooperative in wonderful ways, and we're social animals, but also competitive and quite vicious at times. And so,
doesn't that redound to nihilism then, to say that humans will always be as venal as they are in this society? Therefore, any attempt to reconstruct society or redefine the terms of it, or even appeal to people's better nature, is futile.
No, I believe in changing this system, and I believe in changing it in a way that responds to incentives and disincentives. And so, for example, corporations don't have to have their only motive be maximizing profit. There are many other ways to structure corporations. Labor could be part of the board. They could be told to care about other stakeholders, including citizens. And I think that that makes a lot of sense. But I think that if you ignore what I consider to be fundamental human nature, you're going to run into problems of incentives and disincentives.
I'm happy to agree to disagree on that point. And of course, I agree that right now, under our current circumstances, you mentioned corporations could be told to have other priorities. Told, you mean told or mandated? Because the way things are organized right now, there is exactly one priority, and that is to maximize profits.
I think the part that you and I almost certainly agree on is I believe in rewriting the code. The code is now currently what we call the law, and the master code is the Constitution. And I love the huge parts of the Constitution, but the way that the Supreme Court has interpreted the Constitution encourages and has created a system of wide-scale corruption and bribery. So we need to write an amendment, rewrite the code so that we don't encourage corruption. We discourage corruption. And so, and in terms of the law, we need to rewrite the code so that the company's sole motivation is not maximizing profit. That could be one of their considerations, but in my opinion, you might disagree with that, but not their sole consideration. Anything that is voluntary is hopelessly naive. And I believe that in both directions. For the conservatives who say corporations will voluntarily do good things out of the goodness of their heart, that's hilarious. But also I would say to you, I'm not sure that humans are going to voluntarily work super hard and only take what they need.
I'm not saying only take what you need. I'm saying that the distributions are based on human needs and based on egalitarian principles.
Okay. So we're out of time here, but we should talk more. People should check out your podcast and your book to get a full sense of your thoughts and ideas. And the book is Chapo Trap. The way you can get to it is ChapoTrapHouse.com/book, and it's called I keep saying Chapo, the Chapo Guide to the Revolution. Sorry, I'm a little old. But Virgil Texas, thank you, brother, for joining us. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Thanks so much for having me on. I had a great time.
The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.